The never-ending story apparently never ends. That's right, it's being rebooted into a brand new series of films. This much beloved classic is going to be destroyed, of course, by modern Hollywood and their creative bankruptcy. But it is ironic that, a story titled The Never-Ending Story seemingly will never end, unfortunately, and will get rebooted, rehashed to oblivion. A brand new series of movies. This is terrible. I think this is awful. I think this is genuinely, genuinely bad. Because we do know, ladies and gents, of course, that modern day Hollywood has just been an utter disaster. Their stories, their creativity, even just down to how things look. Very, very expensive things look really cheap now as well. And it also lacks the complete charm that the original would, or will have anyway. This will lack the charm that the original had, undoubtedly. You don't even need to see it to know that this will lack the charm. Right? Falcor, for instance, will probably be some gigantic CGI mess. Everything, the giant rock creature will probably, again, be a giant CGI mess. And even if they do somehow manage to make it impractical, it will still probably look cheap, tacky, and shit. Because anytime they have done these kind of reboots, for instance, let's say, The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, where they did actually use practical effects, they cancelled it anyway. So I don't have high hope that they will be doing this, because in terms of practical, because it takes money. It's a reasonable amount of cash flow to do CGI. And as a result of that, they'll opt for something a bit cheaper. It'll look cheaper. And it somehow costs more than the original did. So there you go. Let's take a look, shall we? Hit subscribe if you're new here for more nonsense on the road to Hollywood. So The Never-Ending Story getting a new film series adaptation from Slow Horses banner Seesaw. Yay. This is an exclusive to Variety. I love how they're framing it. They're like, yeah, Falcor flies again. We don't want him to fly again. We'd like him to rest in peace. Stop the who's this going to be for? Who's it going to be for? Because the people that love the original probably won't want to watch this. And it'll be some nonsense reboot for people that have never even heard of the original either. And if you have heard of the original, and you do know what it is, you won't want to watch this. Who's it for? Make something new. So The Never-Ending Story, the beloved fantasy novel, yes, from late German author Michael Ende, that was famously adapted into the cult 1984 film, is being revived for the big screens once more, with a joint venture partnership between Michael Ende Productions and Prestige taste makers Seesaw Films, bringing the world of Fantastica back to cinemas over multiple live-action films. Now, here's the positive stuff. It is Michael Ende Productions, right? That's positive. I don't really know too much about Prestige Tastemaker Seesaw Films. But the real positive stuff is the estate, obviously, Michael Ende Productions. So the author, his production house, of the late author. So the news brings to an end the race for one of the hottest fantasy properties yet to be tapped for modern audiences. There is no modern audience, stop doing it. Variety hears that Ende's estate had been fielding interest from across the globe over the last few years, including from studios and streamers. So Seesaw, no stranger to adapting well-known literature for screen, having been behind features including Lion and The Power of the Dog, and recent TV hits Heartstopper and Slow Horses. So just as an FYI, that's not good. Slow Horses, Heartstopper. Not massively keen on them handling this. That's like TV drama. Doesn't really tell me you're going to be good with this, does it? But anyway, they've now teamed with Michael Ende Productions to develop and produce the films. The new partnership has been granted The Never-Ending Story rights by Ende's executor, Dr. Wolf Dieter von Granau. Ian Canning and Emily Sherman will produce for Seesaw alongside Roman Hock and Ralph Gassman for Michael Ende Productions. So for those that don't know, first published in 1979, the Never-Ending Story became a bestseller in Germany and would be translated into 45 languages, selling millions of copies worldwide. At the centre of the story is the awkward but imaginative child Bastian Balthazar Bucks, who, while escaping from bullies, discovers the mysterious book, The Never-Ending Story, about the heroic Atreyu and his mission to save the magical realm of Fantastica, a world of dragons, giants, vast kingdoms and deadly swamps, and its ruler, the childlike Empress, from being destroyed by forces known as the Nothing. But the more he reads, the more Bastian realises he's not simply an uninvolved spectator, and he soon finds himself being transported into Fantastica, flying atop the luck dragon Falcor, which looks like a giant dog. Kind of. The story is both timely and timeless, and really has an opportunity to be told in a fresh way. This is a direct quote from Canning, who spoke to Variety for this. And that's from the offices of the Never-Ending Story literary agent AVA in Munich, Germany. And part of the specialness of the book is that you can go back to it at different ages in your life and find different levels of meaning. So how wonderful that we have this opportunity to do a fresh perspective that will have new layers and meanings. Yeah, that doesn't make me happy. We just believe that every generation deserves their own journey into Fantastica. I mean, I don't disagree, but I don't think they want to. We've been completely overwhelmed with interest from the television and film industry in recent years. And that's Gassman, who is the AVA exec who works with Michael End Productions alongside End's long-standing editor and estate curator Hock. But it was only about 4 to 5 years ago when we felt it was right to go back to Fantastica with new, fresher attention. So then we looked at hundreds and hundreds of requests and just thought, let's see if we find a potential partner amongst them that is so compelling that they make us jump into the boat with them and go on this crazy adventure. But we know we had to do it right and find the right partner, and luckily Seesaw was among them. I don't think so. So for Seesaw, The Never-Ending Story is a much bigger and more elaborate piece of material than it's used to handling, so that's why I don't have confidence. It marks the next step for the London and Sydney-based company, which was first founded in 2008 and made famous in 2011 with its Oscar-winning The King's Speech, which is fine, but it's not this, is it? Emil and I have always been very clear, if we were going to move forward on our journey, it had to be something really special that we were passionate about and connected to emotionally. So when this opportunity came about, we just thought this would be so magical, Canning said. Over our 15 years, we've been very careful, whether it be for The King's Speech and audience, and the audience that loved that, or Lion, and the audience that loved that, or Heartstopper, or Slow Horses, about making quality material and the audiences responding to it. This is such an opportunity to bring all of the skill set together and do a full quadrant spectacle of a film. Yeah, I don't know. So Never-Ending Story brings Canning back to the conversation he had in Seesaw very early days before The King's Speech, when he was asked which project he would most like to produce. I said, do you know what? I'd really, really love to adapt The Never-Ending Story, he explains. I was reminded of this recently, so it just feels, in a way, that the 15-year journey of Seesaw in terms of going from book to screen has led up to this. I'm not massively confident, not going to lie. I'm not massively confident. I mean, it's such a good story as well. It says this, although producers may be looking for a modern-day adaptation of The Never-Ending Story, news of its return to screens lands during something of a renaissance for 80s nostalgia. Led by shows such as Stranger Things, it was actually Stranger Things that saw The Never-Ending Story recently back in the headlines, with Marauder's famed synth theme from the first feature adaptation, a film End famously disavowed for deviating too far from his original story, being performed on the show and subsequently going viral online. So, yeah, I'm not massively keen on this, but I think this will destroy. I think it'll destroy it. What do you think? Bad.